start to discover this harmony, because balance isn't out there.
No, it's really not out there. The thing that I would encourage people is to understand that harmony is a practice. It's not a destination. You are going to constantly be working towards this idea of harmony, and you're never probably really going to arrive.
No, I don't think so either.
It's a constant practice, not a destination.
Welcome to Courageous Stewards, the podcast where legacy meets leadership.
We believe stewardship isn't just about managing resources. It's about multiplying impact, honoring purpose, and building with eternity in mind. Each week, we dive into business-focused discussions on real estate investing on a foundation of faith and family.
We have a desire to inspire listeners with a heart to reclaim their time, talents, and treasures for something greater. Whether you're growing your portfolio, leading a business, or a family, we need to become the best version of ourselves.
This is your space to gain wisdom, walk in courage, and steward what matters most.
Let's build what lasts. Let's lead with love.
Let's become courageous stewards.
All right, welcome back, listeners, for another episode of Courageous Stewards Podcast. We're excited. We're going to dive into a topic today that I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and even just people with full-time jobs that work a lot of hours or work a lot of overtime. We're going to talk about the concept of what people call balance and how it's not really a thing. You really can't have balance. So we're excited to dive into this. The concept we're going to kind of introduce and talk about today isn't so much balance as it is more harmony. How can both of these things, our priorities in regards to family and business, actually coexist? We're going to dive into some practical insights. We're going to share a little bit about personally what we're doing and what we're seeing in our experiences with the listeners today, and just give some real examples on what this might look like. We're going to open it up with why balance doesn't really work or exist. So balance, I think, is implying a 50-50 split. When you hear the word balance, your brain goes right away 50-50. The other thing I think that's interesting when we hear the word balance is our brain almost looks like they're fighting each other. Whatever the two things is that you have that you're trying to balance, whether that's family or work, it's almost like they're fighting each other. And so I don't know that that's always the case, because I think when it comes to harmony, it is not an or. It's not a work or family. It's work and family. It's just figuring out creative ways to create that integration and that harmony between the two.
Right. It's more integration than it is separation. You kind of figure out a way to integrate your life. It's all one cohesive lifestyle rather than a separation of business and personal or family and career.
Exactly.
It's kind of this, I almost think of it like a river. It just flows. It flows well, you know. And harmony kind of implies like an energy management, while balance describes more of a time management. And if you're managing your energy where it all just flows together, it seems to make a lot more sense. And you're not trying to separate the two, but rather trying to integrate the two both so that it flows well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you do a great job at this, Jake, with your business, and I've learned to take some of what you're doing and apply it even in my own business. So
I don't feel like I do good with this.
You do, and I'll tell you why. What I see, anyways, looking at your business from the outside in regards to harmony and what you said a minute ago, which is integration, is you have the business and you have a lot to do going on all the time. But what are you doing with you're creating family time, you're creating memories by actually leaning on family and having them involved in the business. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
I've started to work on pulling my son back in. It really depends on your stage of life. You know, you can't bring a 3-year-old to your rental and have them help. But I mean, you've got a teenage son. I've got a teenage son. They can help. These guys can go do some work, and it creates time to work together. You know, make a little money, learn a little bit about business, and have some memories. Because I think men, when they spend time together, it is usually task-oriented. We like to be doing while we're spending time together, because we're not typically going to just sit down and just talk about our feelings and stuff usually. So
So your 3-year-old's not your electrical contractor?
He's not my contractor.
Really?
He likes to.
I must have done that wrong. Whoops.
Bring him along. All right, you get that outlet, Timmy. Crawl over there. Get that
Just
outlet
lick your
changed.
fingers before you touch both sides.
Let me know if you got power over there.
We're just kidding, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So the scale metaphor is also something, and I struggled with this personally, because you have people tell you need a balance. You're not doing enough balancing. Like, you're putting too much into this. And it makes you feel like you judge yourself by it. You're like, maybe they're right. Maybe I am putting too much into this thing and I'm not spending enough time over on this thing. And it just can't look that way. And so there's a great example for visual. I love visuals, so I got a couple of them even to think about when you're discussing balance versus harmony. Okay, so you picture a scale, right? And you're talking about, let's say, family and work. That's an easy example on a scale. It's never 50-50.
No.
It can't be 50-50 even if you were trying to put the effort in to make it 50-50. Because what happens? Things change. So this example was from Pastor Wayne Cadirio, and he was talking about a scale, and you have weights on it on both sides. But say business is really busy, you have a lot of issues at rentals, you're getting those late calls on the short-term rentals. All of a sudden, this side of the scale is heavy. It just is. And this side may be good. Your family's health is good. Everybody's getting to their ball games and things are going well on family. But your business scale is heavy. Now all of a sudden, you have a sickness in the family. You still have stuff going on in the business, but you need to be there for family. So that side of the scale just got heavier. There is never any balance. What you have to do is make an effort to move the fulcrum closer to either side of the scale that needs the support, right?
Yeah.
It's a great visual for that. So that's why it's harmony. It's not balance.
Yeah.
I can't tell things not to happen to my family, and I can't tell things not to happen to my business. I have to adjust that fulcrum point. I think it's a great visual for that.
I recognize that. It's a lot also like a great marriage. I think I've talked about this several times in previous episodes, where your marriage in a lot of cases needs to be more of I've heard it explained 2 different ways. One, it needs to be 100% from both parties involved. However, I've also heard the opposite of that, where it's like, maybe today I only have 20% to give and you have 80% to give. Mm-hmm. And then tomorrow, maybe I have 60% to give and you only have 40% to give. We work in harmony together to create that 100%, that balance. It's a lot the same way in your entrepreneur life and your family life, where there are days, listen, life is very dynamic. You're going to have seasons where things are very busy in one area and not so busy in another. Yeah. And you have to be able to harmonize to go through those ups and downs, busy cycles and slow cycles. And it fills in the cracks of, it's not a rigid 50-50. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. It all works together to create this welcoming, enjoyable lifestyle, because that's really what you're building. You're not just building your business and forgetting about your family. It's more of what needs to be focused on more at this particular time.
Exactly.
Being able to recognize what that is. It cannot be a 50-50, because ultimately one or the other is going to suffer at some point. Yes. If you have that perspective at all times. It cannot be a separation. It has to be something that works in harmony together.
Yeah. It's great.
So what exactly does harmony actually mean? What does it look like?
You had talked about it a minute ago, integration, not necessarily separation. We talked about that harmony being like, bring in the thing that's on the other scale and on the other side of the scale. Yeah. Bring it with you. I think I just love the thought of having family involved. I know my sisters helped me with the business before, and we've had while we're working, we're having some laughs, we're having some jokes, and we're making memories even in it. So I think it can be integrated. I don't know any entrepreneur friend we have that we would go, hey, is life balanced for you? They're going to say no every time. So I think it is, you just said it a minute ago, it's an ebb and flow is what harmony is, and energy management. And I think it's important that we pay attention to that, because you have to leverage the energy when you have it.
Yeah.
So I have days, we both have days. I don't want to keep saying me, but we have days. We wake up and it's like, man, I'm on fire. I'm ready to go. Today's the day. Then you better go crush the day.
Yeah.
You better not take that and go sit and eat Cheetos and watch TV for the afternoon. That's the day to go kill it, because the day is coming where you're going to barely climb out of bed and go, I'm just not feeling it today.
Or you're going to be needed elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Like your son is going to need you at that particular time, and you have a choice to make. Either you're going to be there for him, or you're going to go over here and sell a house. What's more important?
Yeah.
Well, that day at that time, the house is not important. Your son is.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to recognize that this is where I'm most needed at this particular time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then being there and being present. I've got to go to Toledo today to see a family member. So it's just like, I've got other things I can do.
Sure.
But I got to go make time for that, because that's a great point.
You never run out of things to do when you're an entrepreneur. In particular,
No.
I know we're talking to people as well who may be very busy and in the weeds of a job that accumulates or takes up a lot of their time. Mm-hmm. But primarily, we are focused on, the investor and the entrepreneur and how to steward our time well, and talk about what that might look like. And I think if we can understand this concept of harmony versus balance, it really puts into perspective what Christ is asking us to steward, how he's asking us to steward all of the responsibilities that he's given us. It's not a one size fits all. It's not a black and white,
No.
which I tend to look at things very black and white in a lot of cases. And so you really need to remember there's a lot of gray area in your life. There's multiple facets to it. It's almost like, I really like the example of an orchestra. Some of those instruments are going to play more quiet at some given time, and other instruments are going to play louder, and then they may switch.
Yep.
It all works together to create the final product,
Yeah.
the end music. And that's what's so spectacular in the end. And you can apply that to your business and your home as well, where you figure out this way that things quiet down over here and they get louder over here. And it's just kind of a constant flow, a harmony, I guess.
No, that's good. It really paints the picture for all the time and effort being put into something that's much bigger than it is on the day-to-day. And it builds that legacy. It builds that impact. It builds that finished picture that you have in your head, because the time's being put in, and you are allowing it to change and to grow. And I think we talk about energy. Sometimes you don't get to decide if your energy is going to align with the effort. When you're in real estate, opportunity demands energy. When I've got a few deals on the table right now that kind of just popped up this year, and I can't just go, I'll get to that next week. Some of these sellers, some of these deals are timed. They're pressure. They're like, I'm ready to move this thing.
Yep.
If I'm dragging feet, it's going to somebody else. So it doesn't matter how I feel that day. I've got to have the energy to do those things and put into it. But I love, what you were saying is it just being dynamic, right? Harmony in life is dynamic. It's not fixed. So it's like structure with flexibility almost. Mm-hmm. You have to have structure. This is not a thing where just like figure out each day as you go. It's like have some structure, have some routine. I know we work out a few days a week. I do a devotional in the morning. I know you spend time with your family every morning, and you guys are doing a Bible study together. There needs to be structure, but there needs to be flexibility also, because harmony is dynamic in the same way life is.
It's almost designing a rhythm within your life.
That's a good word.
Like, what's the rhythm of your life? Ideally, if you look at your life, what's the rhythm of your life look like? What do you want it to look like? Maybe you're not there now. It may take a very, very long time for you to actually find that clear rhythm and what works well for you.
38 years.
Yeah, that's what it's taken you.
It took a long time, yeah. I didn't write that down, but
I think that a lot of people would probably find value in just getting in a quiet space and thinking, rather than I need more balance, more along the lines of what can I do to create harmony this week? It doesn't have to necessarily be this big picture perspective. Just look in the short term. What can I do to create harmony this week? Mm-hmm. And then if I can do that, then I can replicate that again and again. And then you tweak it, you adjust it. Some things work, some things don't. You get rid of this part, you add this part. I find that for us, my family in particular, it works best when we create or design a rhythm. We have systems in place and a structure. My kids are kind of middle-aged now. This same system would not have worked 10
Right.
years ago
Yep.
when they were little. But now we have a school routine. We get up in the morning. We meet at the table at a certain time for breakfast. We have a devotional time. We have systems in place on who takes them to school. They don't ride the bus, so their mom or I take them to school. We pick them up. I have a certain amount of time in between there that I have freedom, that I don't have technically responsibilities maybe on the home side of things.
Yeah.
And so that's the rhythm that we've gotten into between 9 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. is my focused, high energy workspace. That's where I get everything done that I need to. And then I'm back off to figure out who needs picked up, who has a sporting event.
Yeah.
And then maybe in the evening, I have a little bit of free time. We sit down for dinner together and we talk about the day and encourage the kids to do better where they're struggling or praise them where they have done well. You know, creating and designing a system that works for your family really creates harmony, not only for you because you're the entrepreneur and have that mind, but also for the rest of your family to come alongside you and go, this feels good.
Yeah.
Dad's here. Mom's here. We're just moving through life. I understand what this looks like and I'm good with it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that word rhythm. It's so good. It's just you're making time for what's important and you're being intentional about it. And I know you feel the same way in regards to some things are just non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So you're looking at having you're setting boundaries. So you're having the role of boundaries is pivotal to having harmony. And you got to calendar things sometimes. And you were talking about a little bit earlier. Kind of look at your day, look at your week. You'll see slow spots. You'll see some downtime. Plug something in there when you see it available and make room for it, whether that's reading a book or relaxing. Go ahead and stick that into a day that's less demanding. We have date night. That's non-negotiable. That's not a thing that you can't put anything else in there. There's no meeting that's going to be in that time. Our Tuesday Bible study at home with the family is non-negotiable. That is going to happen. We don't let anything else in that time. You know, people say, well, why would you have to put your family in a calendar? Well, because they're important to me. Mm-hmm. I know it can seem like that's ridiculous that you have to calendar your family in, but it's because they're important to me that they go in my calendar. If I'm putting meetings in and deal opportunities and conversations and lunches in my calendar for business, why does my family deserve to be the one that's on the maybe we'll have time if we have time?
Yeah.
Why do they deserve that when everybody else gets my blocked out scheduling? So that's where boundaries come in, is just like, this is what I do. Some boundaries may include not answering and addressing emails or calls or texts after a certain time in the evening. You just are off. I'll address those tomorrow, unless, of course, it's an emergency. Making sure you take a lunch break. How many times have you made food and just went right and set your food down at your computer and ate, and then it got cold while you were working?
I've done that with both food and or coffee.
Yeah, or you're on the road.
Like I make it with the intention of eating it or drinking it and then forget about it.
Never makes it off the coffee maker.
Yeah. Yeah. You just get so busy and hyper focused on whatever it is that you have to do. You just forget about, the basic things. I think I mentioned to you, was it yesterday or the day before? I forgot to eat. I just forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, you said you didn't have
got to the end of the
breakfast or
day
something,
and you and I were talking. It was probably 5:30 in the evening. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I forgot to eat. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I just forgot. It was weird. It's just, you get going and you get busy and I get it. That's kind of the lifestyle of most entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. You're very active, very driven, very focused.
You're on the go constantly.
On the go all the time.
And I think it's a great segue into like the whole idea of balance and having time. A lot of people are like, I don't have time for this or I don't have time for that. And it's like, well, what is it you're doing? What's important to you? Because you have time for things that are important to you.
Yeah.
You make time. So if you're telling me that what's important to you is that you exercise and that you're successful in your job or whatever your career, you're learning, getting education and things like that, or you're pouring into your family or serving at church, and you're telling me these things are important to you. But every time you have a free chance, you're on social media, you're on video games, you're playing. You have to live into what you say is important.
Right.
Talking about exercising is not exercising or getting in shape. You're like, I want to do this. Then make time for it. Put it somewhere. You got to live it out when you are talking about it and you want it. Commit to it. I like mind, body, and spirit. I think all three are important. I want to make sure my spirit's right with Christ. I want to make sure I'm aligning my efforts with his plan for me. I want to make sure my mind is right. So positive self-talk, things like that, being around people that have that same mentality, and then having a body that's physically healthy is important to me. And so those are things that we chisel out time for, and I don't negotiate on.
I think something that a lot of entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial-minded folks, one thing that they probably have a very hard time doing, which I know I do, is having or creating intentional downtime. Our minds are constantly racing. We're constantly thinking about the next thing, the next deal. What did we do today? What did we miss doing today? How can I improve my time efficiency now because I didn't do as well as I wanted to then?
That's such a good point. I find my downtime is usually I'm still funneling back to work. Mm-hmm. I may just chill at home or read a book or sit out back and try reading a book, but I'm going right back to business. I may put the book down and be like, oh, I should check that. I should send that text out, or what is this? And I go look something else up about something I'm thinking about in business. How do we mentally train ourselves to make the downtime true downtime?
I think
How do we check out?
The best way that I have found is to create a space where you're able to blend when it helps, but then also separate when it matters. So you can ride the lawnmower to mow your yard and listen to an audiobook that's going to help to guide you in a direction in a specific topic that
okay. Yeah.
You can do both at the same time. You can blend the two. You can take walks during a meeting. Most of the time or I should say a lot of times your meetings are going to be audio, or you're on a phone call with somebody that's an extended phone call. Why not get some exercise in at the same time? You can blend two tasks and not feel like you get to the end of your day and go, well, I did all of this, but I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Crap.
That's good.
Like what? I've got to figure out a way to blend both together. And if you're intentional about it, you can find ways.
Yeah.
You can certainly find ways.
Mine is, it's funny. It didn't start this way, but I think it's interesting now is I run. I run. Even to the point you pick on me sometimes. Why are you running? What are you running so much for? But I find actually that for me that's kind of my downtime. I put my headphones in. I may have a motivational podcast on, or an educational one, or a faith-based podcast from entrepreneurs. But I'm out running, and that is kind of my downtime. But just like you said, I'm integrating and I'm doing both. I'm combining, because now I'm working on my physical fitness, but I'm also away from the desk for a minute. Yeah. I'm out. And it didn't used to be that way. It was always like, I got to go run. I'm doing this because I have to go run. But now I find, man, when I can get my dog and put my headphones in and go run, it's kind of my moment away.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about this space of entrepreneurship and doing something that you really just love doing is, for me, I like it so much that downtime that brings me joy is being productive. Productivity for me is joy. Yeah. It's weird.
I find it the same way. Entrepreneurs are a lot that way.
Productivity is joy. So I actually feel uncomfortable when I stop and sit down and I'm watching a show and I'm not doing anything else, but I'm just watching TV, or I'm playing a video game for a minute. I actually feel weird.
Yeah.
It's got to be something I could do. What am I missing? What am I not doing? What could I?
So harmony in my mind then in that situation would be find a time to do that when it also includes time spent with a loved one, a kid, a spouse, or whatever, where, again, you're blending the opportunity to both have some downtime and some rest time, but also have valuable quality time with somebody that you really care about.
Those times are usually spent with my wife, and then my youngest and I just played Madden the other day. Mm-hmm. I took a time out, sat down with him, and we played some Madden. And yeah, you're so right. So those down times recently were quality time.
Right.
It's great stuff, man. So downtime is really important, because there's another visual that you could think about when it comes to energy and time spent and where it's going. You picture a 5-gallon bucket, it's full of water, there's a spigot on it. Your energy is in that bucket, and the demand is that valve on that spigot, right? So there are times that your demand is low, so you're only letting out a little bit of your energy. And then there's other times where that thing's wide open and it's just emptying that bucket. You have to have downtime because that energy is gone now. And it is very important that we fill ourselves. We have to fill and put that energy back. And that comes through quality time, downtime, relaxing. Like you have to turn the burners off for a minute,
Yeah.
and put back into that bucket because you are going to have to be full for that next thing that comes up.
To align with that exact scenario that you're describing, I also would add to that a lot of times filling your bucket means serving others. Find time to do that.
It almost seems backwards.
Yeah.
Because you tell people that, and I totally agree with you. It's a great point, is go serve.
You will find so much fulfillment, probably more fulfillment in that than anything else in your life if you learn to value and look forward to serving others. And then plug yourself into like a local church or a community center or something where you can be filled up by others and encouraged to fill your cup back up. You can't just constantly be draining.
No.
You have to get in and surround yourself with like-minded people, whether in business or otherwise, to encourage you and build you up and kind of fill you back up.
Two great points. Who you're surrounded by. We've talked about that one. That's such a great point. And serving. It's weird. It seems counterintuitive when you tell somebody that.
But it's so not. Yeah,
your energy is so filled. You feel so energized. I do anyways, typically, and I know you do also, when you just take a minute and help somebody do something.
Mm-hmm.
And you just know they're grateful. They tell you, and you're just like, man, that's well spent downtime.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side of that, I will say you need to create some boundaries. There need to be boundaries of, like you were saying, non-negotiables in your situation. Mm-hmm. Some of those, like for us, are no phones at the table. We leave our phones elsewhere. If I hear a text come through, I'll get it after we're done with family. This is our family time, and this is what we're doing, and I'm not going to be over here punching away at my phone while my kids are trying to talk to me or my wife is trying to gain my attention about what happened earlier that day. It's not appropriate. That's a non-negotiable.
That's good, yeah.
Another thing that you should probably consider is not always being available. That's very hard for you to do, especially in the investor space. When you have short-term and long-term rentals, you constantly have people contacting you about this or that or the other thing, whatever their needs are, and you don't always have to be available to respond right then and there. You can still have office hours, family hours, and it can still be a harmony kind of a thing rather than a balance thing, but it's just standards and processes that you put in place so that it creates a harmony within your life. Yeah. Everything is still going to get done.
I struggled with that early on. I wanted to respond to every text, every email instantly.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay if that thing waits till tomorrow. It took me a minute to learn that.
Yeah, not answering phones after a certain time, not checking emails after a certain time, unless there's an emergency, in which case, obviously, you have to take care of
you got to take care
your
of
people. But that's kind of a hard one for a lot of people to be able to create some downtime or some separation. Boundaries is what, the term that we used in your life, where you just have an understanding, I'm not going to do this after this time or during this activity or whatever the case is. So very important to do that.
Some of that comes from just experience and being in it and learning it and understanding it's okay.
Now, I will say, though, along those same lines, you're going to go through seasons in your life. Maybe you're a young, ambitious entrepreneur who's just getting things up and running. You don't have a family. You don't have kids. You don't have a wife. It's go mode.
Yeah.
Like there's very little harmony or balance necessarily in that season. It's like, that is your harmony. Your harmony is build,
you gotta
grow.
Hustle, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have your mid-season where maybe you have a young family or even, a middle-aged family. You and your wife have been together for a while. You have a few kids that are a certain age, and you're looking more at being flexible, working to create other employees who can take over some of the responsibilities that you may have. You're working on leadership skills in that mid-range. And then you're talking at the end, you may have a life cycle where you're coming up on retirement. You're trying to slow down a little bit and you're kind of giving over some of what you have done for the last however many years to somebody else and teach and train and grow them so that you can take a step back and slow down a little bit. So there are going to be seasons and all of that. So that's, I guess, just my thoughts. Everybody is different, and you're going to handle things differently. How I handle my family is not necessarily how you're going to handle yours.
Yeah.
But I would highly encourage you to design the rhythm in your own life that works best for you.
Yeah.
And systems will create a lot of that. Being flexible to not necessarily be so rigid within those systems so that you have harmony like an orchestra would, but yeah, create and design rhythms and systems that work best in your life. And by doing that, you'll find that your rhythm just kind of naturally evolves, and it's not a 50-50 rigid, I'm going to spend half my time here and half my time here. It just doesn't work most of the time.
Yeah.
So
let's recap real quick on what we talked about today in the regards to balance versus harmony. Looking back, you have to understand balance isn't real. It's not, you can't, like you just said a minute ago, you can't have 50-50. Harmony actually means having structure, having flexibility, recognizing that it's dynamic, and then energy management, making sure it's going where you need to have it at the time. It's separation and integration, like you had said. It's just you have to be able to do a little bit of both. I love the word rhythm. So maintaining a rhythm, finding a rhythm, like Jake said, is a great way to think about it. And boundaries. Boundaries are pivotal in everything. I think in life, relationship, business, family, boundaries are very important. So just having boundaries in regards to your time, your relationships, and where you're at and who you're around and your mindset. You can have boundaries even for how you think. So just staying true to those will help you start to discover this harmony, because balance isn't out there.
No, it's really not out there. The thing that I would encourage people is to understand that harmony is a practice. It's not a destination. You are going to constantly be working towards this idea of harmony, and you're never probably really going to arrive.
No, I don't think so either.
It's a constant practice, not a destination.
Yep.
I would encourage people to really start putting into practice some of the things that can create harmony for them, their family, between their business, their home life, and anything else that they may have going on. Start to implement some rhythm. Design your life around a rhythm that works best for you and your family. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I hope that we can bring you some good information, help you think a little bit about how you can improve or change or make some small tweaks in your own life or in your business that can help. We really dive into what it means to be a courageous steward. And I think part of that is time management.
Absolutely.
And creating harmony inside and outside of our business life, family life, and all of what that means. We encourage you guys to go check us out on all of our socials, and we look forward to bringing you something next time. Interact with us. Tell us what you're struggling with in your entrepreneur journey and how maybe we can improve in our journey. Let's put some things out there for our listeners to consider and think about, and hopefully we can all get some value out of this. We love you guys. We look forward to bringing you another one soon. We'll see you later. Thanks for joining us today on Courageous Stewards, where legacy meets leadership and faith fuels the journey.
If this episode stirred something in you, share it with someone who's ready to step boldly into their calling. Subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected as we continue to explore what it means to lead with conviction, serve with excellence, and build with eternity in mind.
So until next time, keep showing up, keep stewarding well, and remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's obedience in motion.